Who is this actually good for, who should skip it, and is it worth the price for normal everyday buyers? That's the exact question I asked myself before I bought the Rockville RF Wedge White Rechargeable Battery DJ Par lights, and it's the question that will decide whether you end up with a useful tool or just another box of LEDs gathering dust. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon, and I'll walk you through why that matters for the kind of setups most of us actually run. First off, let's talk about the scenario that pushes most people to the "I need a set of Par lights" line. You're probably planning a house party, a backyard wedding, a small club gig, or maybe a streaming background that needs some color flair. You want something that you can pop on a table or mount on a short stand, turn on, and have a decent spread of color without digging through a rack of cables. The Rockville RF Wedge comes in a 10-pack. Each unit is a compact wedge shape with a built-in battery, and you control them wirelessly from your phone or a small remote. That combination is the sweet spot for anyone who values speed of setup over the kind of fine-grained programming you'd get from a DMX-controlled moving head. If you're a hobby DJ who plays at local bars a few nights a week, or you throw monthly themed parties for friends, this pack hits the nail on the head. You can line up a few wedges on each side of a small stage, set them to a static wash or a slow fade, and the built-in battery will keep them glowing for the length of a typical gig, about 3 to 4 hours on a full charge, according to the manufacturer's claims. The fact that you don't have to run power cords to every unit means you can get creative with placement, on a low wall, inside a painted backdrop, even hanging from a lightweight truss for a floating effect. In practice, the battery life is long enough that you can charge them overnight, set them up in the morning, and you'll still have a few hours left for the after-party. Now, who should probably walk away? If you're running a larger venue where you need precise color mixing, pan-tilt movement, or tight DMX synchronization across dozens of fixtures, the Rockville wedges will feel limiting. They're designed for static washes, not for chasing effects that need to move around the room. The wireless control works fine for basic on-off, brightness, and color selection, but it doesn't support the more complex cue stacks you'd program on a professional lighting console. Also, the output is vivid RGBWA+UV, gives you a good palette for party vibes, but the lumen rating isn't comparable to the high-output moving heads you'd find in concert rigs. If you're expecting a blinding beam that can cut through a packed dance floor, you'll be disappointed. One practical strength that shows up in real-world use is the portability. Because each unit is battery-powered and comes with a quick-release mounting bracket, I was able to take 3 of them on a road trip to a friend's cabin and set up a glow-in-the-dark photo booth in under 10 minutes. The wireless app let me switch from a soft blue wash to a pulsing pink strobe without touching a single fixture. That level of convenience is hard to overstate if you've ever tangled with extension cords and power strips at a pop-up event. On the flip side, the wireless link can be a bit finicky in crowded Wi-Fi environments. I noticed a slight lag when I tried to change colors while the house was full of guests streaming video and using the same 2.4 GHz band. It wasn't a total failure, just a momentary hiccup that required me to tap the refresh button in the app. If you're planning to use these lights in a setting where the wireless spectrum is saturated, you might want to have a backup plan, like presetting the colors and leaving them on a static mode. Another hidden trade-off is the wedge shape itself. Because the LEDs sit at a shallow angle, the light spreads out in a fairly wide fan. That's great for covering a wall or a backdrop, but if you need a tight, focused spot on a performer, you'll have to supplement with a different fixture. In my experience, the wedges worked best when I aimed them at larger surfaces, think a painted backdrop or a draped curtain, so the colors could bounce and fill the space. Using them to highlight a single DJ booth produced a wash that was pleasant, but not as dramatic as a dedicated spot fixture would deliver. Let's talk money. At roughly $30 a piece when you buy the 10-pack, you're getting a full set of rechargeable LEDs for a price that rivals a single higher-end moving head. That price point makes sense if you factor in the cost of batteries, chargers, and the time saved on rigging. For a casual user, the per-unit cost is low enough that you can afford.